Welcome to Hub Hits. We're talking the Epstein scandal in the United States. It's rocking the presidency of Donald J. Trump. Could this, in some way, be of benefit to Canada as we engage in these high-stakes trade negotiations? To help break it all down, I'm joined by Speer, co-founder and editor-at-large. Sean, great to have you on the program.
Yeah, always great to connect, Rudyard.
The right in America is something we like to follow here on the Hub. We consider it our job as an intelligence operation for our listeners and viewers to spend time so they don't, with the likes of Steve Bannon, Alex Jones, Laura Loomer, and a whole bunch of others. And we've seen something. In fact, it's been all over the press in the last 10 days, a big split emerging in the Trump coalition around the Epstein files. Let's begin there, Sean, and explain to our audience what's happening and why.
Yeah, well, listeners and viewers no doubt know that one of the major files that a lot of Trump supporters anticipated the administration would tackle is the issue of Jeffrey Epstein, allegations that he was involved in high profile figures coming to his island to have sex with underage women. And a lot of people have wanted to know, who are these individuals? What was behind Jeffrey Epstein's operations, and more. In recent weeks, the administration surprised a lot of its most vociferous supporters by essentially telling the world that there's no conspiracy here. In fact, there's nothing even worth investigating, that this amounted to a big nothing burger. And what has been interesting, Rudyard, in response, is that has essentially split parts of the MAGA right. Some have chosen, as in the past, to essentially take the word of the president like gospel. But others who uncharacteristically have broken with the president and the administration on this issue and continue to insist that there is more to this story, and that the administration is essentially involved in a cover-up. And as you say, this has created real tension between the president and his base, and key figures on the American right, including Steve Bannon and Tucker Carlson, two of the president's strongest loyalists and allies, who've come out pretty firmly against him and in favor of the administration taking steps to really get to the bottom of this Epstein scandal.
Yeah, what's so interesting is that this issue, Jeffrey Epstein, the so-called Epstein files, are there names? Are there financial transactions? Is Donald Trump somehow implicated in these files, directly or indirectly, has split his political coalition in a way that no other issue to date has, whether it was the strike on Iran, if you want to talk about something somewhat important, if you want to talk the trade and tariffs agenda, if you want to talk the dismantling of the administrative state, all these firings across the U.S. public service and the shuttering of entire departments. So a lot of really big consequential things that you think could have rocked the Trump coalition, but no, it's this issue, Sean. And what is it? Why is this galvanizing, again, as you say, long-term loyalists who were supporters of this president, who are now openly coming out and criticizing him, and he is openly coming out and criticizing them, effectively calling them losers, baiting them, saying they're falling into a Democrat trap, that these bizarrely arguing that the Epstein files are somehow a Democrat hoax. I mean, I can't even figure that out, and I won't try, but explain to us why this issue versus all the other ones is rocking Trump's political world.
Yeah, just to go further, not only has the MAGA base found a way to support Trump on a lot of the controversial policy issues that you mentioned, but we didn't even see this kind of divergence on on impeachment or the January 6th riots or any number of issues where I think principle alone would have caused people to essentially get off the bus. And so you get the sense that the president and the people around him have taken for granted, as he famously put it, he could shoot someone on Madison Avenue and he wouldn't lose his support. Yet here we are. This Epstein issue is really snowballed. As you said, the president looks increasingly defensive, posting on Truth Social these long screeds about how Carlson and others have been duped by the lunatic left, as the president puts it, and why he doesn't even want their support anymore. What's the Shakespeare line? Doth protest too much. In a way, the president's reaction to the criticism is only fueling speculation that there is indeed a cover-up that may go even directly to him and his association with Epstein. So it's a long way of saying the reason we're talking about this is not just because it's a juicy story, because for the first time in almost a decade of Donald Trump's political career, we're starting to see him look destabilized, and we're with his supporters, and we're starting to see kind of cracks in what was previously an uncrackable MAGA coalition.
Yeah, so let's bring this back to Canada, because if you're negotiating like our prime minister and government is right now with the Trump administration, Sean, doesn't this all just suggest, whether it's this issue or the president's dangerous musings this week about firing Jerome Powell, the chair of the U.S. Federal Reserve, that in a sense we should be waiting. We should not be rushing into some all-encompassing, deal with the Americans, trading away national sovereignty for access, not simply because he may renege on all of that in 6, 12, or 18 months, but because for the first time in this, again, we're only, 8 months into his second term, but for the first time, we're seeing some real cracks here, Sean. We're seeing him being separated from his base. We are seeing him being confronted by members of Congress, and not just,
Yes.
Freedom Caucus, radicals like Massey, who he has this longstanding grudge against, but Speaker Johnson himself, the U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives, calling for the Epstein files to come out. So, Sean, is this a sign that let's wait. Let's use this president's increasing kind of political uncertainty, his erratic behavior, the potential drift here in his administration as early as the 8th month of his second term to our advantage.
Yeah, I think that's right. To reach a deal now, given the uncertainty looming over the president, it seems to me comes with a lot of risk. He is at the best of times impulsive and chaotic, but one gets a sense that is on 12 on the Richter scale right now. In fact, there's been some speculation, Rudyard, that some of the surprising developments we've seen on tariffs and on Powell and some of these other issues are in fact an effort on the part of the administration to try to change the channel,
distract on Epstein.
To go back to some of its greatest hits, and it's not working. And it speaks to something I think more profound on the American right, that maybe Carlson and Jones and Bannon and some of these others are motivated by principle. Maybe they genuinely want to know and believe that the administration has a responsibility to come forward with the details about the Epstein scandal. But they also are speaking to a core constituency on the American right that strongly believes this. And so my sense is, Rudyard, that they're actually reading the mood of the MAGA movement better and more closely than the president is. And you get the sense that there's something unsustainable here. Something is going to have to break, whether that is ultimately the firing of Pam Bondi or some of the other figures associated with the stonewalling, or we're going to ultimately see the release of whatever materials or files the Department of Justice has to satisfy these voters. Donald Trump is, if anything, Rudyard, responsive to the public, and I don't think this issue is going away for him.
Yeah. We don't know how this is going to play out, but the fact that he's now calling it a Democrat hoax sounds like he is preparing the ground for this information to come out one way or another. Either they release it or someone else leaks it. He's implicated in it, and he basically falls back on his other greatest hit, which is, Russia hoax, Russia hoax, Russia hoax. I think I'll wrap it up here, Sean, but I think Canadian policymakers, decision makers, need to recalibrate a bit. This president is not as strong as he was even 60 or 90 days ago. He has problems. He has problems on the trade file internationally. He's got no deals. He's got no actual signed deals. He's got a bunch of agreements. Some of them are fuzzy at best. He's got problems, with Congress increasingly, and members of Congress now speaking out on the Epstein file and the big beautiful bill. And now he's got a war going on inside his own party, and he looks like he's on the losing side of that.
Yes.
I think this is hopeful for Canada, I hope it gives our negotiators a sense that time, as David Frum on our excellent David Frum podcast here on the same channel keeps telling us, this is going to be a slog. The American Canada-U.S. relationship is not about culminating in a negotiation. It's about managing this president and the threat that he represents over the next 3.5 years. And I'm more hopeful that we are seeing weakness, we are seeing division, and we are seeing a president that's going to have to turn his attention, probably as early as this fall, Sean, to the midterms. Yes. He's going to have to move away from the shock and awe of the first 100 days and start to think about the midterms. And if he's heading there with tariffs, with the U.S. economy, maybe in a bit of trouble with his coalition splitting, this is all good for Canada. This is all good for our negotiators, and we should not be rushing headfirst into a deal. Let's have the last word from you.
Yeah, I think the short answer is this probably increases turbulence in the short term, as we've seen even just in recent days. But if this issue has legs, if it's as significant and enduring as we both think it is, then I think you're right. It's in Canada's interest to hold tight, resist the kind of hold on and resist the turbulence. And hopefully get a better deal for Canada on the other side.
Yeah. Well argued. Well said, Sean Speer, co-founder, editor-at-large of The Hub. Thanks for coming on Hub Hits today.
Yeah, great connecting always.
Thank you for watching and listening to Hub Hits. If you're over on our podcast feed, please write us a review. Let us know what you think of our podcasts generally and Hub Hits in particular. Give us show ideas, topics you want covered. We read all of your comments carefully. And if you're over on the YouTube channel, well, please click that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and you'll get our next Hub Hit sent directly to you as soon as you're published. We're trying to get these out to you daily to keep you informed and engaged on the big stories shaping the news. I'm Rudyard Griffiths here at The Hub. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.